Well, the role of a liturgical assistant will differ from parish to parish. It's really dependent on the parish priest, so I don't want to be too prescriptive here because your parish priest will have expectations and hopes. What are kind of the common things that you find from one place to another? Well, very often you find that a liturgical assistant will help set up the altar and the sanctuary before the service begins. I think it's a good idea to make sure everything is done 5 minutes before a service begins, a Eucharist begins, so that 5 minutes before you can settle down, just be quiet in the vestry, begin to think about what you're going to do. And my rule has always been, what is left undone 5 minutes before a Eucharist is left undone. So if you've forgotten to light the candles, we'll just leave them unlit until you get in and under cover of the opening hymn, light the candle. During the actual Eucharist, there are parts which are usually devolved to a liturgical assistant. They're very often the deacon's parts in the absence of a deacon, such as the introduction to the confession, the reading of the gospel, and so on. I think it's very important that a priest does not abrogate their leadership of the Eucharist. And I get sometimes just a little bit anxious when clergy do effectively nothing until the sermon. And the liturgical assistant does everything. And I know you can get good liturgical assistants who can do it very well, but there is a leader of the Eucharist, and that is the priest. They're trained to do that work, and I think they ought to be leading the Eucharist from the beginning. Doesn't mean doing everything, but it doesn't mean also abrogating responsibility for leadership. It's very important that a liturgical assistant help in the assisting of the distribution of the bread and the wine, and know how to do that easily so that they can set a person who's receiving the host and the chalice at ease. And of course then there's help in setting up the altar for the Eucharist and doing the ablutions afterwards, and then tidying up after church. It's a really important role. A liturgical assistant needs to be trained, as it were, so the expectations are set and we do it as well as we can. Everything we do becomes part of the offering of love to God, including the preparation beforehand and the packing up afterwards. Even the people who come and clean the chalices or wash the linen, that's all part of the offering to God, the offering of love, and is all part of the Eucharist. And when the community comes together, the faithful come together to listen to the scriptures and break bread and wine, everything is being offered to God as acts of love to him. So we're saying to God through all we do and all we say, Lord God, I love you, we love you, and we want you to be part of our lives. And what I'm doing here, washing the linen and ironing it, cleaning the vessels, lighting the candles, it's all part of my act of love to you.
We'll get there still.